Do you want more success, more growth, more results? Then it's time for the Boundless Success Accelerator from the Modern Observer Group. This isn't your average coaching program. It's where top performers come to dominate. Weekly group sessions, on-demand coaching, a community that's got your back, and a power-packed library of tools to supercharge your business and career. No more excuses, no more waiting. Get in, level up, and start building the life you've been dreaming about. Visit us at modernobserver.com/boundless success to join today. Let's get you to the next level.
We're here because the news is being distorted. We're here because people are being inundated with misinformation on social media. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth.
The death of Pope Francis, the Supreme Court halts deportations, a major financial merger, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. Pope Francis, aged 88, a reformer who sought to make the Catholic Church more inclusive, much to the ire of some conservatives, has passed away. Francis's Easter Sunday appearance in the crowd at St. Peter's Square came after a hospital stay of more than 5 weeks, during which at one point physicians considered halting treatment to allow him to die peacefully. Francis was admitted to the hospital on February 14th after a week-long battle with bronchitis. He had been struggling to speak and even breathe during public appearances. His hospitalization included multiple attacks of acute respiratory insufficiency, according to daily updates issued by the Vatican. While hospitalized, the Pope was also diagnosed with a polymicrobial infection and then mild renal insufficiency. Russian President Vladimir Putin announced a temporary Easter ceasefire in Ukraine starting Saturday, as Russia and Ukraine swapped hundreds of captured soldiers in the largest exchange since Moscow's invasion began more than 3 years ago. However, Ukrainian President Zelensky said the Russian assault operations continued on several frontline sectors, and Russian artillery fire has not subsided. Russia's Ministry of Defense said 246 Russian service members were returned from territory controlled by Kiev, and 31 wounded Ukrainian POWs were transferred in exchange for 15 wounded Russian soldiers in need of urgent medical care. President Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio warned on Friday that the U.S. would abandon efforts to broker further peace talks unless there were clear signs of progress within days. The U.S. military hit a Yemeni oil terminal in a missile strike early Friday morning in one of the biggest U.S. attacks yet against Houthi rebels. Yemeni officials claimed more than 70 were killed in the attack on the Ras Isa oil terminal, which serves as an essential fueling hub sustaining Houthi attacks on shipping in the Red Sea. The attack reflects the ongoing U.S. campaign against the terror group's infrastructure following Houthi attacks on American vessels and missile strikes targeting Israel. The Supreme Court blocked, for now, the deportation of a group of Venezuelan migrants whom the Trump administration is seeking to remove under a rarely used wartime law. The order came early Saturday after lawyers for the migrants asked the justices to step in on an emergency basis to halt their deportations, as reports came that immigration officials began loading the detainees onto buses for deportation under the Alien Enemies Act. Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito dissented from the order, with the court saying a statement from Alito would follow. These men were in imminent danger of spending their lives in a horrific foreign prison without ever having a chance to go to court, said Lee Gallant, an attorney with the American Civil Liberties Union, who is lead counsel on the case. We are relieved that the Supreme Court has not permitted the administration to whisk them away the way others were just last month. President Trump is using a novel application of the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to claim certain powerful gangs are equivalent to foreign governments in wartime. The administration in March designated members of Tren de Aragua as enemy aliens and moved swiftly to remove alleged gang members from the U.S. to a notorious prison in El Salvador. The Trump administration unveiled plans to charge Chinese-made ships docking at U.S. ports in an effort to boost the domestic shipbuilding industry. China manufactures approximately 75% of all fleets, and the U.S. government began investigating its shipmaking dominance during the Biden administration. The recently announced plans for fees are less severe than what was originally proposed, as ships will be charged per voyage rather than for each port they dock in. About 10,000 pages of records related to the 1968 assassination of Senator Robert F. Kennedy were released Friday, including handwritten notes by the gunman, who said the Democratic presidential candidate must be disposed of and acknowledged an obsession with killing him. Many of the files had been made public previously, while others had not been digitized and sat for decades in federal government storage facilities. Their release continued the disclosure of historical investigation documents ordered by President Trump. Kennedy was fatally shot on June 5, 1968, at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles, moments after giving a speech celebrating his victory in California's presidential primary. His assassin, Sirhan Sirhan, was convicted of first-degree murder and is serving life in prison. Amid Israel's ongoing military campaign against Hamas terrorists in Gaza, the terror group is reportedly facing an unprecedented financial crisis. The Wall Street Journal reported that salary payments to many Hamas government employees have ceased, and even senior officials received only half of their usual pay during Ramadan. Terrorists who once earned $200 to $300 a month are struggling to get paid as the IDF tightens its grip, and the flow of humanitarian aid has been cut off since the collapse of the ceasefire. Dr. Michael Milstern, head of the Forum for Palestinian Studies at Tel Aviv University, said that while financial difficulties are mounting, Hamas operatives are motivated more by ideology than money. It's not just about a paycheck, Milstein said. Hamas provides essential supplies like food, water, and medical care to families, which is crucial in today's Gaza. Despite the squeeze, Milstein noted that Hamas has weathered similar financial crises in the past without collapsing. Anti-Semitism in Canada has exploded in the aftermath of Hamas's October 7, 2023 massacre, reaching record numbers last year and becoming a central issue for the country's Jewish community ahead of an April 28th federal election. Last week, Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre, the main challenger to Prime Minister Mark Carney, accused pro-Hamas protesters of staging hate marches and vowing to deport anti-Semitic foreigners from Canada. The rampaging chaos that we see in our streets, the targeting of synagogues and Jewish schools with hate, vandalism, violence, firebombing, these things were unheard of 10 years ago, Poilievre said. He also had a warning for foreign agitators. Anyone who is here on a visitor visa who carries out law-breaking will be deported from this country, Poilievre said. Ford said on Friday it has halted shipments of its SUVs, pickup trucks, and sports cars to China amid retaliatory tariffs that have seen vehicles face taxes as high as 150%. The shipments include F-150 Raptors, Mustangs, and Michigan-built Bronco SUVs, as well as Kentucky-made Lincoln Navigators. The company continues to export U.S.-built engines and transmissions to China. Ford is among the best-placed automakers to weather tariffs, as it produces about 80% of its U.S.-sold vehicles domestically. One of the largest deals in banking since the 2008 financial crisis has been given the go-ahead. Financial regulators gave Capital One the green light to acquire Discover Financial Services for $35 billion, clearing Capital One's runway to more wealthy customers. Capital One's acquisition of Discover will make it the largest credit card issuer in the U.S. by loan volume, surpassing J.P. Morgan and Citigroup. Capital One will also gain at least $1.2 billion in new annual revenue and is expected to put much of it towards the company's growing spending on perks, according to Bloomberg. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth Daily News Brief, as well as our sister podcast, Carnivore Radio, with news analysis and commentary, and the rest of the Xvadio Podcast Network at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcasts app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.